This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Allison Hester of Athens, Georgia. Peace on Earth, Goodwill to Dogs by Eleanor Hollowell Abbott, Part 2. It's a dull person who doesn't wake up Christmas morning with a curiously ticklish sense of tinsel in the pit of his stomach, a sort of shine, a kind of pain. Glistening tears, pang of the years. That's Christmas. So much was born on Christmas Day. So much has died. So much is yet to come. Balsam scented with the pulse of bells, how the senses sing! Memories that wouldn't have batted an eye for all the Gabriel trumpets in eternity leaping to life at the sound of a twopenny horn. Merry folk who were with us once and are no more. Dream folk who have never been with us yet, but will be some time. Ache of old carols, zest of new-fangled games. Flavor of pudding, shine of silver and glass. The pleasant frosty smell of the expressman. The gift beautiful, the gift dutiful, the gift that didn't come. Hi ho, manger and toy shop, miracle and mirth. Glisten in tears, laugh at the years. That's Christmas. Flame Norris certainly was willing to laugh at the years. 18 usually is. Waking at dawn, two single thoughts consumed her. The lay reader and the humpiest of the express packages downstairs. The lay reader's name was Bertrand. Bertrand the lay reader, Flame always called him. The rest of the parish called him Mr. Laurello. It was the thought of Bertrand the lay reader that made Flame laugh the most. "As long as I've promised most faithfully not to see him," she laughed, "how can I possibly go to church? For the first Christmas in my life," she laughed, "I won't have to go to church." With this obligation so cheerfully canceled, the exploration of the humpiest express package loomed definitely as the next task on the horizon. Hoping for a fur coat from her father, fearing for a set of encyclopedias from her mother, she tore back the wrappings with eager hands, only to find, all astonished and half a scream, a gay, gauzy layer of animal masks nosing interrogatively up at her. Less practical, surely, than the fur coat, more amusing, certainly, than encyclopedias, the funny, false faces grinned up at her with a curiously excitative audacity. Where from? No identifying card. What for? No conceivable clue, unless perhaps just on general principles a donation for the Sunday school Christmas tree. But there wasn't going to be any tree. Tentatively she reached into the box and touched the fiercely striped face of a tiger, the fantastically exaggerated beak of a red-green parrot. Mused Flame. "Whatever in the world shall I do with them?" Then, quite abruptly, she sank back on her heels and began to laugh and laugh and laugh. Even the lay reader had not received such a laughing, but even to herself she did not say just what she was laughing at. It was a time for deeds, it would seem, and not for words. Certainly the morning was very full of deeds. There was, of course, a present from her mother to be opened, warm woolly stockings and things like that, but no one was ever swerved from an original purpose by trying on warm woolly stockings. And from her father there was the most absurd little box, no bigger than your nose, marked "For a week in New York," and stuffed to the brim with the sweetest bright green dollar bills. But of course you couldn't try those on, and half the parish sent presents, but no parish ever sent presents that needed to be tried on. No gay, fluffy scarfs, no lacy, frivolous pettiskirts, no bright, delaying hat ribbons, just books, illustrated poems usually, very wholesome pickles, and always a huge motto to recommend: "Peace on earth, goodwill to men." To men? Why not to women? Why not at least to dogs? Asked Flame. Taken all in all, it was not a Christmas morning of sentiment, but a Christmas morning of works, kitchen works mostly, useful, flavorous adventures with a turkey, a somewhat nervous Sally with an apple pie, intermittently, of course, a few experiments with flour paste, a flare or two with a paintbrush, an errand to the attic, interminable giggles. Surely it was 4 o'clock before she was even ready to start for the Rattle Pane house. And starting is by no means the same as arriving. Dragging a sled full of miscellaneous Christmas goods an eighth of a mile over bare ground is not an easy task. She had to make 3 tugging trips, and each start was delayed by her big gray pussy cat stealing out to try to follow her, and each arrival complicated by the yelpings and leapings and general cavortings of 4 dogs who didn't see any reason in the world why they shouldn't escape from their forced imprisonment in the shed yard and prance home with her. Even with the 3rd start and the 3rd arrival finally accomplished, the crafty cat stood waiting for her on the steps of the Rattle Pane house, back arched, fur bristled, spitting like some kind of new weathercock at the storm in the shed yard, and had to be thrust quite unceremoniously into a much too small covered basket, and lashed down with yards and yards of tinsel that was needed quite definitely for something else. It isn't just the way of the transgressor that's hard. Nobody's way is any too easy. The door key, though, was exactly where the old butler had said it would be, under the doormat, and the key itself turned astonishingly cordially in the rusty old lock. Never in her whole little life having owned a door key to her own house, it seemed quite an adventure in itself to be walking thus possessively through an unfamiliar hall into an absolutely unknown kitchen, and goodness knew what on either side and beyond. Perfectly simple, too, as the old butler had promised, the 4 dog dishes, heaping to the brim, loomed in prim line upon the kitchen table waiting for distribution. Sniffed Flame. Nothing but mush. Mush all over the world today, I suppose, while their masters are feasting at other people's houses on puddings and cigarettes. How the poor darlings must suffer, locked in sheds, tied in yards, stuffed down cellar. Meow, twinged a plaintive hint from the hallway just outside. Oh, but cats are different, argued Flame. So soft, so plushy, so spineless. Cats were meant to be stuffed into things. Without further parleying she doffed her red tam and sweater, donned a huge white all-enveloping pinafore, and started to ameliorate as best as she could the Christmas sufferings of the poor darlings immediately at hand. It was at least a yellow kitchen, or it had been once. In all that gray, dank, neglected house, the one suggestion of old sunshine. "We shall have our dinner here," chuckled Flame. "After the carols we shall have our dinner here." Very boisterously in the yard just outside the window the 4 dogs scuffled and raced for sheer excitement and joy at this most unexpected advent of human companionship. Intermittently, from time to time, by the aid of old boxes or barrels, they clawed their way up to the cobwebby window sill to peer at the strange proceedings. Intermittently, from time to time, they fell back into the frozen yard in a chaos of fur and yelps. By 5 o'clock, certainly, the faded yellow kitchen must have looked very strange, even to a dog. By 5 o'clock, certainly, the faded yellow kitchen must have looked very strange, even to a dog. Straight down its dingy, wobbly floored center stretched a long table cheerfully spread with the Reverend Mrs. Flamande Nourris's second-best tablecloth. Quaint, high-backed chairs dragged in from the shadowy parlor circled the table. A pleasant china plate gleamed like a hand-painted moon before each chair. At one end of the table loomed a big brown turkey. At the other, the appropriate vegetables, pies, cakes, and doughnuts interspersed between themselves. Green wreaths streaming with scarlet ribbons hung nonchalantly across every chair top. Tinsel garlands shone the walls. In the doorway reared a hastily constructed mimicry of a railroad crossing sign. Directly opposite and conspicuously placed above the rusty stovepipe stretched the parish's gift motto, duly readjusted: "Peace on earth, good will